Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy, Nate Weitzer, who is east of me right now. We are going to be taking a look at player props here on a Monday after Christmas. About a 7-game slate to choose from. Some wacky stuff going on in and out of these lineups as well. So make sure you're staying on thelines.com, checking all of those injury reports. We are going to be taking a look at our player props in this one. As I said, got a couple game videos up for you as well. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Nate, let's just go ahead and jump right into our first NBA player prop for tonight.
Yeah, the wacky stuff. It's another COVID Christmas, basically. And there's also a lot of non-COVID coronaviruses going along. That's what you hear in my voice, for what it's worth. And the Pelicans Zion seems to have been sick, so he's doubtful to return to play due to conditioning. And then his illness seems to have spread around the locker room a little bit. You got to stay on top of it to know who's going to play. But we think CJ McCollum's going to be out there with, a bit of a skeleton crew now. And as it stands, 20.5 points for CJ is very low. It's probably going to adjust with Zion being out. But in any case, in his last 5, he's averaging 29 points, 8 over assists on 30% usage rate. If you take out a poor shooting night against OKC, 31.5 points per game in his previous 4, and his last 3 at home, 33 points per game. Facing Indy, who he struggled against in November, but to me, I thought CJ came into the season a little sluggish, a little out of shape, and he's rounded really well into shape. And now he's lighting it up with Zion or BI and BI out tonight. In that dud against Indy, BI had a 31% usage rate, and Zion also had too low of usage. But now, they can use CJ to really attack Indy, which is giving up the most points per game to shooting guards in their last 7 and third most on the season, throwing a lot of rookies out there at that position on the wing, Nembhard and Benny Matz, as we call him. So I think it's going to be a teaching opportunity for CJ at home, and he's going to continue to cook.
Yeah, you didn't even mention Buddy Hield's lack of defense as well, who's starting at shooting guard for them. And that man loves to watch others shoot threes just as much as he loves to watch himself shoot threes. So I think there's plenty of reason to love CJ at 21 points to score tonight. I mean, if you want to get him to score 25, you probably get closer to double your money there. I'd feel fine about CJ, getting 25 points tonight. I think that's way, way too low right now. So I'm going to go to another guy who's been tearing it up since he came back. LaMelo Ball has those Hornets playing pretty well. His points, rebounds, and assists are at 36.5. As I told you the other night, watch out for the Lakers game where they are probably going to lose to these Hornets. That wasn't even LaMelo's best game, although he did end with 23 and well over this 36.5 PRA. This game has a 238 total tonight versus the Blazers. I think you can expect a lot of great guard play in this one. No Gary Payton II tonight or Justice Winslow, and you've got Nurkic and Josh Hart both returning from injury, so we'll see what sort of shape they're in. Had some decent rest, but we'll see about that. And his last 4, Melo, we're talking about, I guess I'm calling him Melo, by the way. I used to fight against that, but he is. I'm just going to go with Melo at this point. He's deserved it. In his last 4, 25.5 a game, 7.5 boards, and more than 9 assists. That's with his about 32% usage rate in almost 35 minutes there. So you're basically looking at his per 36s. And in 3 versus Portland so far in his career, 28 a game, 6 boards, and 7 assists on that 31% usage. So this is what you can expect from this Hornets team in Melo tonight. And like we were saying about, without GP2 and Justice Winslow, definitely their 2 best wing defenders there, or at least guard defenders. Portland giving up the most rebounds per game to point guards, and in their last 7, allowing point guards to get about 30 points a game, and well over this line of the PRA that LaMelo is playing. And like I said, if he's playing about 35 to 36 minutes tonight, I think 37 points, rebounds, and assists combined, especially if you expect him to get close to the 25 points, you got to feel pretty good about him getting another 11 rebounds and assists combined.
Yeah, those numbers in his last 4 in just 34 minutes per game, and in his career against Portland in just 31. So, yeah, he's going to be playing more as Charlotte continues to push the pace, and they've really been dominating the paint margin in their last few games. I mean, just lighting it up. That's why you have a 238 total. As he just plays with big men all the time, and it's just like the LaMelo show in terms of pick and roll, either him scoring or assisting on everything. So I like combining the points and assists and throwing the rebounds too, because Portland, that's always their deal, right? They have undersized guards. we're not going to match him on the boards. Looking at this Jazz Spurs game and want to take an under. I kind of want to predict a non-competitive finish is more what I'm thinking here, that Utah is just going to blow out the Spurs, who are no longer really trying to win. I mean, they've fluctuated between competitive results. They did have a couple pop-up wins, and they've beaten the Rockets twice, but that's, a different story than the Utah Jazz, who are actually pretty good and are very well rested. Off since December 22nd. They're 4-1 with 2+ days of rest, and they also go over with a rest advantage at a 5-1 rate. So might not be that close down the stretch. Keldon Johnson's been productive lately, but 21.5 points is high. I would tack on 3 assists as well because his playmaking is not really up there. So under 24.5 points assists against a Jazz team that's actually allowing the third fewest points to small forwards this season, and has held KJ to 16.5 points and just 1 assist per game in his last 3 meetings with Utah. So like the Jazz, -4.5, and like them to limit, I guess, the Spurs' top option right now. I mean, they don't have much to threaten you with.
No, he is their top option, and he's been playing better since I think it was actually when we took an over on him like 3 weeks ago because he had been playing so poorly, and that was the game that got him out of his rut. But this is an opportunity. I'm not necessarily going to tail this one just because of the way that Keldon Johnson's been playing in his last roughly 10 games or so. But I do like the idea of throwing the assist in there. You look at, he hasn't been playmaking nearly as much. I think he's only had 3 assists roughly twice in his last 10 games. So some opportunity there to feel good about him going under on the assists if you add those for sure. I'm going to finish things off talking about assists and rebounds combined for Ben Simmons over 11.5. You could take the points. They're only at 8 or so it'd be about 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. But over to get 12 rebounds and assists, basically, if he's getting minutes, and if he's getting minutes, it's because he's not fouling. Then he's going to be getting this prop essentially. So, over his last 3, he's averaging 8 assists and 7.7, basically 16 boards and assists combined. And that's in 31 minutes. And in 2 of those games over his last 3, he didn't even play 28 minutes. It was 27 and 24 minutes. He had a 41-minute outing in their overtime win recently as well, which is why he still has those minutes pretty high. But basically over his last 10 and his per 36 is 10 boards, 10 assists. And you've got to, especially tonight in a game where Cleveland, if they are going to be vulnerable anywhere, or at least if you're going to be able to attack those big men down low, you've got to be playing a little bit more of that mid-range game, getting a few more of those offensive boards that might be bouncing kind of high and out into the middle of the paint. And that's where Ben Simmons lives, and he has been living at the offensive on the offensive rim as well, getting a ton of offensive rebounds. You might be worried about him in this game, but Cleveland, with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, but against Jared Allen in his career, he's doing just fine, averaging about 19, 10, and 8 in those games from when Jared Allen was on Brooklyn and he was on Philly. Really wasn't worried about that at that time. Hasn't really played much against Evan Mobley, so we'll see that. But Cleveland is susceptible in that one position that you expect Ben Simmons to be running all over the place, which is that versatile power forward. And they are bottom 10 in allowing points and rebounds and assists to opposing power forwards. So if there's one spot on the floor that you feel good about getting some of these hustle points against this team, it is in that power forward spot for Sen Bimmons tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a key cog in Brooklyn's surge here because he's a ball mover and he's doing just enough to threaten defenses by attacking the rim when it's his opportunity. That it's opened up a lot of drive and kick lanes. It's a big reason why we like Brooklyn, despite Cleveland's great numbers at home this season. Brooklyn getting a little bit of juice on the money line. I think Simmons will be a part of their effort no matter how this game shakes out.
Yeah, he's going to have to be for sure. So that is all the time we have for you in this one, though. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us, bringing you these videos each and every weekday this season. So until we see you next, happy betting.